I'm going to give you some scoring tips in this lesson today. Things you can do out on the golf course without technically changing your golf swing that are going to help you knock your scores down. We're stood on the 13th hole here at Warrington. It's a par 3. It's a little bit innocuous, and this is the first thing that we need to do. A lot of people, when they're playing golf, we have a handicap and we look at something like this. On the tee box here, we've got the marker. It says 13th, 152 yards. This bit is important. Stroke index 14. Now, that would suggest it's one of the easier holes on the golf course. But don't get lured in by stroke indexes. The stroke index number 1 here at Warrington is the 5th hole, which is a par 5 that is 485 yards. So for me, it's generally a driver, an iron, and if I don't get on the green, I'm flicking it on, and it's a very easy par 5 for me. I would argue this hole would cause me more trouble, because when we spin round and actually look up at the green, where that flag is situated today, it's right on the right hand side, literally in a slither of green that is about 4 or 5 yards wide. So if I just went, oh, well, it's stroke index 14, I can play up at the flag now. If I don't cover all the distance on the corner where everything falls away, all of a sudden I am in trouble. So when you get up onto a golf course and you're looking at the stroke index of a hole, don't let that number fool you. If you look at it and think, well, do you know what, it really suits my eye, there's no trouble where I'm playing down to, but it says it's stroke index 4, for instance, and you're off 12, it could be a hole that really suits you. Play to your ability and play to how you're feeling that day. Don't let the numbers on the card dictate what you're going to do. Play within yourself and play your own game. That is scoring tip number 1. Feeding on from that, ability wise, we've then got to make smart decisions. Like I said a second ago, this flag here is, at the moment, it's 158 yards. Now, it's a little bit downwind, but like I've just said, that is in the tiniest section of the green. Maybe I've played a few holes already. Maybe I'm not feeling like I've got ultimate control of my irons. So for me to try and hit a shot directly at that flag could lead to a lot of trouble. So when we're presented with things like this, where there is a bit of risk and reward, is it worth the risk? Is it worth the reward? Can I still make a good 3 here, or a potential 2 actually playing more to the centre of the green and then holding a longer putt, or, you know, tapping up and knocking it in for 3? So when you're on here, don't just go and be a flag zombie. Someone who walks up, looks at where the flag is, and that is the only thing, and they just think, flag, I'm hitting it at the flag. Take into account everything that else is around there. How are you playing? How are you swinging? What's the trouble near it? Because if I leak this shot to the right hand side, it's game over. Making 3 is going to be a real difficult scenario. So assess the situation, pick a club that's going to be correct for you, then pull the trigger on that shot. So we'll give that a little go now. Aiming more to the middle of the green, tiny fade. And there, a nice strike, a little bit of a fade on it, right in the heart of the green. And you know what? It was an okay strike, wasn't my best, but I've got a 40-foot putt for birdie. I'm happy with that. If I would have aimed at that flag with that strike, I would have fallen short and it would have been game over. Let's head up to the green, and I want to talk to you about a few shots around and a few scenarios around the green that are going to help us score better when we're out on the golf course. We ended up here. I'm going to move this off though. Next thing I want to talk to you about is understanding what a good shot is, because if I hadn't hit my ball there into that decent place, and I would have just landed here, and it runs off down the slope now, need it to go a little bit further than that. Let's put it a bit more over here, over in this direction. If I would have caught over here into the rough, hitting a good shot from this scenario, if we just get behind us here and actually look up towards this flag, and you can see what I'm facing now, this all of a sudden is a high caliber shot. You've got to accept that actually if I got this within 10 feet beyond the flag, that's a pretty good shot. I can still hole a putt from 10 foot, but if I'm trying to be too cute and I'm thinking, well, here we go, I've just got to land this just over the slope, you make a good swing, and you just fall short there, all of a sudden we're bringing those big numbers onto our scorecards. As where, if I get myself here and I accept that I've made a mistake, it's not the fact that if I hit a chip and it goes 20 foot by, that's the bad shot. It was that tee shot that caused the issue. Now I think, well, I'm almost going to feel like I'm going to slam dunk this, land it a foot before the flag, let it run on beyond, take my chances of holding the longish putt. Worst case scenario, I'm going to try and make a bogey. But here I make the same swing, land it a little bit further on, it's nearly pitched in, and as we wander just up towards where it's gone now, instead of having now another horrible chip that I wouldn't feel great with, what I'm left with is something where I've rolled it about 25 feet beyond the flag, but like I said, I'm pretty much certain I could two-putt that every time to make my bogey instead of bringing in those big scores. So accept and understand that sometimes in certain scenarios, a good shot isn't getting it stone dead. A bogey might be a really good score from where you are. Let's go and take a look at another little scoring situation I want you to work through. Another situation, finding trouble off the tee. What we don't want to do, and what I see so many people doing, is compounding the error, trying to bite off more than we can chew. And what I mean by that, I've actually got a really nice lie here. Put the club in, there's not much grass behind that golf ball. I'm guaranteed I'm going to get a pretty decent strike on that. Now, my flag is actually underneath the canopy of this tree here. We can maybe see it in the distance. The only problem is that I've got water to carry. Now, if I was thinking I was Seve Ballesteros, I could hit a big carving cut from here, or I've got a pretty big passageway down this angle here, which I would have to almost hook the golf ball a little bit, but I can see the flag clearly. I've only got to keep it under this canopy, and sometimes our ego gets the better of us and we stand and we think, all I've got to do is keep a little flat shot here, a little bit of a hook on it. Let's give it a go. Yeah, I've got a great lie, so it's a par 5. I've got to get on in 2. Let's see if we get up. Uh-oh, no, didn't do it. Ball's just clipped another tree and it's gone firing off back into trouble over there. As where, drop another one here, again a very similar lie. I can still play out now. I've drove the ball to here. I've got 205 yards left to the flag. It's a par 5. Why don't I stop compounding the error that I've already made and just chip it back into play? I had a scenario yesterday with a friend where he actually had to play out backwards and he made a great call straight away. He stood to his ball in the rough. It was really high up and he was in a bunker. Couldn't quite get a swing on. He said, well, I'm going to actually have to go back down the hole that way to come back at it. Ended up making a great bogey. So when we're in trouble, what's the stress-free option that can get us back into play, like so? Didn't even take any concentration effort for myself, and back down past the 150, and then I've set myself up to hit a good shot and I can still make a par from there. We've got to accept that maybe par birdie's out of the equation because of the poor tee shot, but now I can actually still make a good score by swallowing my ego and hitting it into a spot and resetting ourselves. Let's head up to the green and see one more scoring tip that we need to do on the golf course. The final tip is all about our mindset. When we get onto the green here, we've got ourselves left with a putt like this. Now, whether I hole it or whether I miss it, let's say this putt is for bogey. And I get up and I've gone through my normal routine. I've stayed present. I've tried doing what I want to do every time and hole the putt. I've knocked it in. I've made my bogey. I pick it out and it all starts from here. What am I doing walking to that next tee? Because a lot of people will be thinking about the hole we've just played. I'll be walking off saying to myself, oh, can't believe I hit that drive in the trees. I can't believe I hit that one in the pond. Can't believe I've lost that ball. oh my God, can't believe I've made bogey. This can't happen to me. And we've got all these negative thoughts walking around our mind. But do you know what? As soon as that ball's gone in that hole, there is nothing you can do about that hole now. The only thing that you can do is move on to that next tee and do not let it affect you. I understand we're all gonna get angry, I do it. We get annoyed at what's just happened, but we've got to, by the time this club goes back into my bag here, I've got to be set, ready for my next challenge, because once that number's on the scorecard, once that ball's finally in the hole, I don't get another chance to go back and play it. I've got to move on and try and keep playing the challenge that is out in front of us on the golf course. So whether it's the first hole, your second shot into the 18th, once it's done, you've never got another opportunity to hit that exact same shot again. Move on, accept what's happened, go and show everyone how good you are on the next one. Prove us that you can still play golf. With a good mindset, you're going to do it more likely, as opposed to having a bad one and thinking about all the things that have happened. Stay in the present, and then you'll start to see that your scores are coming tumbling down as well from there. Guys, hope you enjoyed that video there this week. Thanks for watching it. If you have, do hit that subscribe button down below for me. I want you to get better at golf, and you're going to do it by joining me for your free lessons. I'm off to the 18th, where I'm going to go and hit a great drive.